Okay, so welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a recap of Tidelands Season 1, Episode 3. So, of course, it opens with a woman giving birth and her underwater, and she places a baby on the banks, which we're assuming is Cal. And the baby is then picked up by Bill and given to Pat, who is Cal's father. And so, Bill made the statement that we should probably take the baby to Latant or whatever, the compound or wherever, the Tidelanders live. And Pat didn't want to do that for whatever reason we have yet to figure out. But, so he ends up obviously keeping Cal and raising her as his own. So, at first I was thinking, okay, in last episode, Bill told her that Rosa's not her mother and Augie's not her father. So I'm thinking, okay, well maybe Bill had fathered a child, and that's why Rosa had so much resentment towards her. But then we find out that he's not her biological father either. And so it goes back to current time where they're still on the dock, and she's, having questions like, well, who's my father? Like, what is going on? And, Bill trying to explain to her that we're half-breeds, and the stories about the sirens are true, and and that he tried to find out who her real father was but never could. And he basically explained to her that your father, his main goal was always to keep you safe. And he basically told her that he thought that it would be better or safer for her to leave. And of course because now of course she's driven to find out, okay, who she really is. So we go to Rosa. She's at her bar looking for something, and then some woman comes down and tells her that someone is here. So she goes up, and it's Laura. Laura is Zach's wife, the guy who was killed in the first episode. And she takes her into a room, and there are a group of other women sitting there, and they're all just kind of looking. And Laura's like, what is going on here? So I'm not exactly sure what their little group is, but they started explaining to her that, throughout this town, there's only been one really explained death. And then they had this book of men who've died. And they're saying these are the unexplained deaths. And so they were basically saying how they were fed up or sick of it. So I don't really know what their role is going to be and what exactly they're trying to do, but they've come together to, I guess, fight back. So much. Okay. So Adrielle, she's downstairs, and she's now talking to the old lady again. And she poured the water into this little basin, and she cut both their hands, but basically the lady is a seer. Like, she's able to, she's asking a woman, she's trying to find out certain information. So the woman cuts her hand, puts her hand in the water, and she gets these flashes of, I'm assuming basically her being killed or dying. And around this time, you have Lamar. He's in the house, and if you remember in the last episode, Giles or Gillis, I don't know that child's name, told him about the key. So he went to see where the key was. And he found it. Obviously, he didn't take it because he wanted her to know. Obviously, he didn't want her to know that he knows where it is, or that anybody knows where it is. And so she got upset with the old lady because of what, the vision. And basically, the woman was like that. I mean, that's just basically what it is. So she wanted to ask her another question and cut her hand again, and nothing happened. It's like, I guess that was basically all you were going to get out of her at that time. So she's blocking her back up. And Lamar got out of Dodge, so she was able to come up. She didn't say anything, so she didn't know that anybody had been there, which is good. So Lamar leaves the house, and who does he run into? Violca. And she basically said that, my methods for doing it probably, wasn't the best. No, this child lost his eye. But you now see that she's hiding something, and what is she up to? And so Lamar's basically like, the questions you're asking are dangerous questions. And she was like, yeah, but they're valid. Otherwise, you wouldn't, look the way that you look, or they wouldn't look as scared as you do or something. And so he walks off. And so we flash to Corey. He's getting ready for work. He gets to uniform and all this stuff, and he walks outside. And his father is an older guy. He's sitting on the porch, and he just starts talking to him about the McTeers. And of course, his father has no love for the McTeers. He's like, they're all basically, the father, Pat, was a criminal and a thug, and basically wasn't shit, and even that daughter of his, Cal, even turned out to be a murderer, and so on and so on. And he was basically, and Corey's basically like, you know what, Dad, I'll see you later. So he went on and headed off to work. And so Laura gets home, I guess from her little meeting with Rosa and them, and she sees Augie in her house, and he's tearing her house up looking for Zach's phone. And she's like, what are you talking about? What are you looking for? I don't know anything about a phone. And then Augie was like, well, because it wasn't on the boat, it wasn't anywhere, it wasn't on his body, And so she stops, and she was like, basically, you lying piece of shit. You told me that you never found his body. So she starts fighting him and slaps the shit out of him, and you know, the whole thing. And he gets a phone call from someone I don't remember. And so they end up kissing and end up having sex. So I'm like, okay, obviously these people are fucked up, but, and the guy, one of his guys was sitting in a car waiting for him to come out, and the guy, I cannot remember his name, but he was in another show called, oh my god, this ran for 2 seasons on Netflix, oh god, I can't think of the name of it, but he was on another show which was pretty good. If I remember it out, find it out listed in the description box. But so boy, he was sitting there waiting for, you know, his Augie to come out, and the cop that Lamar had talked to, I guess he had some kind of sexual relationship with, saw him sitting out there, and he went over and asked him for a light, and he kind of looked over and saw, you could see in the window that Augie and this woman is having sex, and he the man made some comment like, maybe you should spend more time doing it instead of watching it or something. And so he walks off, and oh boy, I mean, he can't leave because, you know, he can't leave Augie there. So he's just sitting there waiting for him to finish whatever the hell he's doing. Okay, so Cal eventually gets home, and she's looking for Augie, and obviously he's not there. She tries to call him, goes to voicemail, obviously, because he's screwing Zach's wife, Laura. And so then she sees a knock at the door. It's Corey. She comes to the door, and basically he said that he has scars. Like, when she scratched his chest up, she apologized and was basically like, you know, I can't talk to you right now. And she ends up closing the door in his face. And you know, she starts going through some old stuff and looking at photos, and she's trying to figure out what. And she noticed that in the photos, I don't know if she just saw Bill. So Bill's been around for a long time. I don't know if that's who she was looking at, but you know, she was looking at the photos like it was something in particular that was catching her eye. So we go to Adrielle, and she's just sitting around, and you know, Lamar walks in, and she starts asking him if he believes in prophecies, and he said yes. You know, my people, we had a person who had saw visions, and you know, the one thing about visions is you can never be sure if it's showing you. It's like you're never really getting the whole story. So it's like I believe in them, but it's like there's always, you know, things don't always mean what you think they mean. And so he gets up, and she asked him to leave or something. I don't know, he got him left. And she walks in, so you have Dylan, he's over in some room having sex. She walks in like it was nothing, and basically told the girl to leave. And she told him to arrange another shipment, and he was like, well, you think that's a good idea? You know, the smugglers might get greedy and might get used to, you know, making a certain amount of money, and they get greedy, And so basically she was like, process another shipment. So Augie and Colton are talking. So Augie and Colton, he's in the office, and basically Colton is like, is there any way, he wants to find a way that they can do business without dealing with the Tidelanders, because nobody trusts them, and nobody really wants to work with them, because, you know, they know that they killed Zach, and they're just like, they just don't want to be bothered. And basically Augie was like, I mean, at this point there is there's not a whole lot that we can do about that. So around this time, Violca walks in, and Augie leaves, and Violca is he's asking her. Augie's asking her, does Adrielle know you're here? Because remember, there was this whole big thing about him showing up at the compound unannounced and uninvited. So now here he is, Violca, walking into his office. He's like, does Adrielle know you're here? So she was basically letting him know that there are a growing number of people at the compound who is unhappy, and they're growing unhappy because Adrielle is not really being, I guess, forthcoming, and nobody really knows where they stand. They don't really know as far as their future and basically what's going to happen to them. So she basically said that there are a lot of people who are unhappy, and basically if you want to make a move, then you might have some people, out there that could potentially be on your side. And so she ends up, at that point, she ends up leaving, but the whole time Colton is kind of looking and watching their interaction like, okay, all right. So Dylan, Adrielle, and Violca, they're on a boat because they keep the barrels underwater. So they go out, and she's kind of talking to Violca, and she's saying that, one day you'll be queen, and you'll understand that, the people that follow you may not always understand why you do the things that you do, but it's for the greater good. And so, sometimes it's best for them to basically just keep quiet, basically. And she tells Violca to go down and get the barrels. And so she goes down first. She said, oh, Dylan's not going with me. And she's like, no, I am. So Violca goes down first. And then Adrielle turns to Dylan and was like, if she comes up without me, shoot her. Kill her, basically. So then she jumps in. And so she'd gone in before, obviously, Adrielle, so she got her barrel first and came up. And so Dylan is standing there like, where's Adrielle? She was like, I don't know, like, basically, and I have a feeling that she was taking her sweet time because she was hoping that she would wait. I'm thinking she was hoping she'd wait long enough for Dylan to kill Violca, but that's not what happened. He grabbed her and pulled the gun out and was, had the gun to her head, like, where's it? So he's kind of looking, and you could see he's like kind of torn between whether or not he should do it. And then next she's way out, but she comes up. So, and she's like kind of looking, trying to see what's going to happen. So I'm glad Dylan didn't pull the trigger. So So of course, Violca is standing like, what the fuck are you doing? What is going on? So she's scared, thinking she about to get her damn brains blown out. So you flash to Augie and Colton. They're on the boat. They're out waiting for Dylan and them to catch up with them so they can do the exchange. So this bitch, I'm like, girl, Adrielle. So they do the exchange, and it's for the same amount, I'm assuming, of product. They give them, Augie gives them the same amount of money. They have a set, amount of product that they're moving, and they give them a set amount of money. So he gives them the money, and then Adrielle was like, well, this is half. He's like, what? He was like, yeah, this product, this shipment is double than the last. He was like, no, then you can take this shit and give me my money back. They was like, no, once you sell that, then you can give us the rest of the money. So obviously that cut into Augie and their profits. Of course, they're pissed because they're supposed to exchange, and that's supposed to be the end of it. And so whatever they make from, I'm assuming, the sale is theirs. So now half of whatever, now he has to go and convince the buyer to pay double. So I guess so they can just break even, I guess, at this point on this particular sale. So Colton is like, okay, what the fuck are we supposed to do? The people, they're already pissed off at the Tidelanders because of Jack's death and the whole thing. And Augie's like, no, we don't want to tell them because we don't want nobody going off half-cocked and doing something stupid and making the situation worse. So basically, Augie's like, I'm going to have to convince Tom, their buyer, to pay more. So Cal, she's still at the house. And she is looking through photos, and she found an old black and white photo, like really old. And in the background, you can see Adrielle. So it's like, damn, how old is this bitch? So she looks at the photo, and she's kind of like, okay, that she recognized her from the woman she saw on the beach. So Cal and Rosa, you hear an alarm going off, and it's Cal trying to break into Rosa's car. So Rosa comes out, like, what the hell are you doing? She was like, oh, I'm taking my car that you bought with my money. So, Rosa's like, no, you're not taking my car. So she gets the door open, and of course Rosa, closed the door, but Cal is stronger than Rosa, so she pushed her away. And like, if you would just give me the keys, she was like, no. She said, I know that I'm a Tidelander, and that you've been lying to me into death. She was like, well, how did you find out who told you? And she's like, this is that the reason why you hated me all these years? And around this time, Augie pulls up, and so Cal was about to tell Augie, and Rose was like, don't tell him, he doesn't know. And so she didn't tell him. But he was like, what's going on? She was like, I'm taking my car. Cal was like, I'm taking my car. And he was like, why? He said, well, she needs to go to the compound. And Augie was like, she asked Augie if he would take her. He was like, yeah, but I need you to help me with something first. So she goes with him and Colton to do the drug deal, the deal. And so Tom, Augie was explaining to him that this, this shipment cost a lot more. It was double. So now he has to obviously pass that cost on to Tom. And Tom was like, okay, that's business. And he was kind of nervous and it's kind of scary. And he was like, so who's your supplier? Now, anybody in business would tell you they would, why would I tell you who I buy from? So you can buy from them too and they become my competition? No. So Augie was like, I'm never going to tell you that. If you want to talk about the product, if you want to talk about money, we can do that. But I'm not going to tell you who my supplier is. And then he kept pushing it. And eventually, Cal was like, why do you keep pushing this? And so you can hear, like, he kind of stopped, almost like she kind of got into his head. And he kind of stopped for a minute. You can hear kind of echoing in his head. And then next all hell breaks loose. Gunfire starts going off. A bunch of people get hit and get shot. Tom is one of them. He goes down. Cal ends up grabbing one of the guys, jacking him up. She's like, almost got her nail in his neck. So the guy comes in, has a gun on her, telling her, you need to let him go. So she has blood now on her hands. And then you see the guy who was orchestrating this whole thing. So I guess the goal was to get Tom to find out who the supplier was. But Augie wasn't going for that shit. So he ends up taking Tom out. And then he comes in, basically saying that he now wants to do business with Augie. And Augie is familiar with him, and he was basically like, Augie wasn't trying to really do any kind of business with him, but I mean, in that position, you're at a disadvantage. So he basically took their product, and he went on and left. And he was like, the guy was like, I look forward to hearing from you, basically. And so Rosa confronts, around the time Rosa is confronting Bill, saying that you told her the truth and why would you do that? And basically we're done. So she leaves, and that was basically the end of that. And so you have Lamar and Dylan. So Dylan is on his way to pick up the rest of the money. And so Lamar's like, well, where are you going? To meet with the smugglers? What, to get the money? But didn't they already pay? So even Lamar's like, what is going on? Why are you going to get more money from them when they've already paid us the agreed upon amount? And so Dylan was basically like, well, if you don't know, then I guess it's not meant for you to know. And he jumps on his bike and he leaves. So, did I miss something? I think I may, because I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. So around this time, so you have Laura, she's in the house and she hears a phone ringing. And she looks and looks and looks, and under the refrigerator she finds a cell phone, which I'm assuming is Zach's phone, the phone that Augie was looking for. So she picks up the phone, and the person says, basically, you're going to do basically what I tell you to do, or you're going to die. And so you hear the person, and it's the same guy who confronted him at the drug deal where Tom and all the guys were killed. So that's who basically convinced Zach to go out to spy on the Tidelanders. So, so of course she's sitting there like, oh shit, now what? So once they meet, Augie and them get back to his their little warehouse, whatever, where they do their business, and Dylan's already there. And so Cal is so just disconnected from what the fuck just happened. She was like, well, you said that you would take me to the compound. And he's like, bitch, were you not in the same room that we were in? Like, did you just see all the shit going off and all these people that got killed in front of us? And do you really not understand what we are? Because she's all Cal is focused on is her. Like, what she's trying to figure out about her. So basically, Augie was like, I can't take you right now. And she was like, well, basically, fuck you. Like, it's like, oh, he's like, my buyer just got killed in front of me, and all the shit is going on. And keep in mind, Augie doesn't know any of the stuff that she's going through. You know what I'm saying? So he's basically like, okay, things are just get really fucked up right now. So I can't do it right now. So she jumps out of the truck, and then she walks over to Dylan and asks Dylan if he will take her. And he's like, I can't take you right now. So she's like, well, basically, fuck you too. And he's looking like, what the hell? So she storms off, and then she yells back, he doesn't have your money. So of course he calls Adrielle to let them know they don't have the rest of the money. And so he takes off, and then you see this guy following him, and it's the guy that Cal had all jacked up on the wall. So he's now following Dylan. And so Dylan eventually realized he's been followed, and he pulls over, and eventually the guy catches up and sees that the bike has stopped, and he gets out, and he ends up fucking this guy up. Like, come on now, dude. Come on. For real. So, Cal ends up going to Bill and asking Bill if he would take it, but she went to his boat. But he was in there drunk. Like, he wasn't paying her any mind. He didn't even come out to talk to her. And so basically she was like, well, screw you. And so around this time, Adrielle has gone back to the old lady, and she's asking her, like, asking her about basically their future. And so she sees these same visions, and she tells the woman, like, screw you. And then she puts her hand back into the water and starts seeing something else. And then she's saying McTeer is going to bring the siren. And for some reason, Adrielle is terrified of what that means for them. So, because I'm assuming they're all half-breeds. So, yeah, what does this siren have? It's going to be interesting to see what is she going to be in the form of a regular person? Is she, I want to see. I'm interested to how that's all going to work out. But whatever it is, if it's shaking Adrielle to her core, this cold bitch, you can't. If she's scared, then it's obviously something to be concerned about. So, Violca and Colton, I know that's at his house, and so she realizes that Augie is not going to turn, or he's not yet ready to turn on Adrielle. So she figures her end is Colton. So she's now trying to seduce Colton. Because they want kind of the same things. Violca just wants to get to the bottom of what Adrielle is all about, what she has going on, and Colton doesn't want to be bothered with the Tidelanders at all. So we gonna see how that turns out. It's gonna be a big ass mess. So Cal eventually gets home, and he's looking for Augie finally gets home, and he's looking for Cal, and he sees the photo that she had, this old photo, and seeing Adrielle in the back. And so now he's looking at the photo like, what the hell? So now he storms out and he's looking for Cal. So Cal goes back to the dock, and she ends up stealing a boat. And around this time, it flashes to Adrielle and some woman, and I think that was Leandra. And she says that, tells her that McTeer might come here. If she does, punish her. Punish her like what? You gonna gouge her eyes out? Like the fuck, what? But that's basically how this episode ended, with Cal basically on the water on her way to Latente. So what's gonna happen when she gets there? Who knows? But yeah, so far I'm liking this episode. I wonder when, everything is going to come out. It's interesting that they knew. Oh, what we did find out is that Augie and Colton knew that Bill is a Tidelander. And Colton was like, yeah, that's why we don't really trust him. So it's known that they're walking him. Obviously, kind of know the people who are working with them and around them. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting show. I would just want to see how the siren is going to look in this particular show, because you know there's actual show sirens on Freeform. Like when they actually go into the water, they actually change into something interesting. So they don't look like the cute little, you know, little mermaids. They got fangs and they got sharp teeth and the dog. They look like something interesting, like I said. So I wonder how it's going to be interesting to see how they create the siren in this particular show. Yeah. So I'm going to end this here, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode.